brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Chrissie Hynde. Christine Ellen Chrissie Hynde is an American musician who is best known as a founding member of the rock band The Pretenders. Inspired by hippie counterculture, Hynde worked in London with Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood at their clothing store, Sex. In 1978, she formed her own band, The Pretenders, with Pete Farndon, James Honeyman-Scott and Martin Chambers as singer, songwriter, and guitarist. She has been the only constant member of the band throughout its history. She has also released a number of songs with other musicians including Frank Sinatra, Cher and UB40. Hynde and The Pretenders were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2005. Early life. Hynde was born in Akron, Ohio, the daughter of a part-time secretary and a Yellow Pages manager. She graduated from Firestone High School in Akron, but stated that, "I was never too interested in high school. I mean, I never went to a dance. I never went out on a date. I never went steady. It became pretty awful for me. Except, of course, I could go see bands, and that was the kick. I used to go to Cleveland just to see any band. So I was in love a lot of the time, but mostly with guys in bands that I had never met. For me, knowing that Brian Jones was out there, and later that Iggy Pop was out there, made it kind of hard for me to get too interested in the guys that were around me. I had bigger things in mind. Like girls." Early career. Hynde became interested in hippie counterculture, Eastern mysticism, and vegetarianism while attending Kent State University's art school for 3 years. She joined a band called Sat. Son. Matt, which included Mark Mothersbaugh, later of Devo. Hynde was also caught up in the Kent State shootings on May 4, 1970, in which the boyfriend of one of her friends was among the 4 victims. Hynde also developed an interest in the UK music magazine NME and moved to London in 1973. With her art background, Hynde landed a job in an architectural firm, but left after 8 months. It was then that she met rock journalist Nick Kent and landed a position at NME, writing what she subsequently described as half-baked philosophical drivel and nonsensical tirades. However, this proved not to last, and Hynde later found herself working at Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood's then little-known clothing store, Sex. At one point she tried to convince Johnny Rotten and then Sid Vicious to marry her, just in order for her to get a work permit. Hynde's version of this episode has it that Rotten offered to go to a registry office with me under the unmentionable, but when he subsequently pulled out, Vicious volunteered to take his place. Upon arrival at the registry office the following morning, they found it closed for an extended holiday and were unable to attend the following day due to Vicious making a court appearance. Hynde then attempted to start a band in France before her return to Cleveland in 1975. Hynde went back to France in 1976 to try to form a band, but it did not work out. She left Kent for Michael Fregi-Memi, bass player of the Frenchies, which she joined for one show at the Olympia Theatre. When their singer had left, she took the lead singer duties. She found her way back to London in the midst of the early punk movement. In late 1976, Hynde responded to an advertisement in Melody Maker for band members and attended an audition for the band that would become 999. John Moss and Tony James of Generation X also auditioned. Later, Hynde tried to start a group with Mick Jones from The Clash. After the band failed, To take flight, Malcolm McLaren placed her as a guitarist in Masters of the Backside, but she was asked to leave the group just as it became The Damned. After a brief spell in the band Johnny Moped, Mick Jones invited Hynde to join his band on their initial tour of Britain. Hynde recollected of the period. "It was great, but my heart was breaking. I wanted to be in a band so bad, and to go to all the gigs, to see it close up, to be living in it and not to have a band was devastating to me. When I left, I said, thanks a lot for letting me come along, and I went back and went weeping on the underground throughout London. All the people I knew in town, they were all in bands. And there I was, like the real loser, you know? Really the loser." Hynde also spent a short time with the Moors Murderers in 1978, named after a pair of child killers. The band consisted of Future Visage frontman Steve Strange on vocals, Vince Ely on drums, and Mark Ryan and Hynde on guitar. The band's name alone was enough to start controversy, and she soon distanced herself from the group, as noted in NME. Hynde said, "I'm not in the group, I only rehearsed with them." She stated that Steve Strange and Sue Catwoman had the idea for the group, and asked me to help them out on guitar, which I did, even though I was getting my own group together and still am. Late 1970s. In 1978, Hynde made a demo tape and gave it to Dave Hill, owner of the label Real Records. Hill stepped in to manage her career, and began by paying off the back rent owed on her rehearsal room in Covent Garden, London. Hill also advised Hynde to take her time and get a band together. In the spring of 1978, Hynde met Pete Farndon, and they were selected a band consisting of James Honeyman-Scott and Martin Chambers, and put the name Pretenders on the group, inspired by the Sam Cooke version of the Platters' 1955 R&B song, The Great Pretender. They recorded a demo tape, handed it to Hynde's friend, Nick Lowe, produced a single, and performed their first gigs in a club in Paris. The single was released in January 1979, and hit the top 30 in UK. Later that spring, the Pretenders recorded their eponymous first album, and hit the charts in UK and US with the song, Brass in Pocket. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.